Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this week's iHome Show. This is actually episode number 10, and today we're going to be doing a market update. A couple quick notes. Tim Sherburne is going to be joining me here shortly. We actually had a client walk in a little bit prior to the show and wanted to talk about selling their home. So Tim is going to sit down with them, and depending on how long that conversation takes, he may be joining us in a little bit to talk about some of the numbers, particularly the buyers and seller market piece that we're going to be adding at the end. A quick introduction. My name is JJ Johannes. I'm with IA Homes. I'm one of the co-owners along with Tim of IA Homes. We started this in 2003. We started by helping people sell just for sale by owner. And then in 2012, we both got our real estate license. And then in 2014, we both got our broker's license and then added agents since then. And we're up to about 12 real estate agents. Had another one join us last week. And so with our by owner piece, that's still in place. We still offer that for sell by owner service to people. But with our agents, we also offer flat fee, full service listing options. And then also our agents help buyers, buy homes. So trying to get that complete comprehensive real estate services there. And so that way we can kind of help people like the people Tim's talking to today, just looking at their different options and explain the pros and cons of all three of those different options. So I want to let you know that. Also, the little banner on the bottom there is red. That was not to coordinate and match my quarter zip that I'm wearing today. When I set it up, I must have just skipped the part to click our brand colors. So anyway, just a couple notes there real quick, and then we're going to get into the numbers, talking about Black Hawk, Lynn, Johnson County numbers that we're seeing. And we'll go through that fairly quickly. And then Tim and I, if he's back, we'll talk about it. Otherwise, I have numbers. We both ran a scenario and looked at numbers or price points, I should say, of homes that are in a buyer's market currently, where there's more inventory than there is demand. And then also a seller's market where there's more demand than inventory, and just kind of talking about that a little bit to help you as a consumer understand, looking to buy or sell, where's that micro market, so to speak. So jumping right in, let's add the numbers here. And as mentioned previously, we are going to be dropping these images into the video or into the comments, on our Facebook page. So when you see these comments or this video, if you're on our Facebook page, just look in the comments below. Otherwise, if you're watching this on Instagram or LinkedIn or YouTube or another place, go to our IA Homes Facebook page, look for this video, and you can see in the comments. And if you don't see it, feel free to reach out to us. So going over the Black Hawk County numbers real quick. New listings in Black Hawk County was there's 125 new listings in the month of February, which was down 19% from the previous month and just under 27% from the previous year. Pendings, 133, from up 13%, almost 12.7% from the previous month, and down 10% from the previous year, month over month, so February to February. Solds, 105. That was an increase of just under 42% from the previous month, and up 20.7% from the previous year. Showings. So this is the number of showings that were requested on properties. There were 751 showings in the month of February. That was down 16% from January, and down just under 2% from the previous February. Days on the market was 67. That actually the days on the market increased by 15.5% compared to January, and then up 1.5% from the previous February. And then the average sold price was $134,315. And we saw that was a drop from January of the average sold price by 22.1%. And then a drop of just under 5% from the previous year. And just a quick note on these numbers, we can definitely see how weather is affecting the new listings, as we see that the new listings coming to the market is dropping, significantly. The pendings up. That's a little bit of surprise with the number of new listings down a little bit. Sold, that's about right, because those were contracts written in December and January. So those are kind of numbers that we would anticipate seeing at this time of year. And then showings being down, obviously indicative of the weather that we were dealing with in February. So let's move over to going to jump over to Johnson County here. So looking at the Johnson County numbers, new listings, 225 new listings in Johnson County. That was down just under 48% from January, down 21% from the previous February. Pendings down 2% from January, down just under 32% from last February. Solds were up 28% from January and up just over 2% from the previous February. Showings, there were 1,748 showings. That was actually up just under 2% from January and up just over 22% from the previous February. Days on the market, 100 days on the market was up 23.5% from January and then up 72.4% from the previous February. Sold price, $260,885. That was down just under 1% from January, but it was up 16% from the previous February. Again, looking at those numbers, similar to Blackhawk County, we see that the weather is really affecting, February's weather really affected the new listings coming onto the market. So we saw that drop in those. The pendings, the Johnson County market is a little more indicative of what we would tend to see with the colder weather when there's fewer listings coming on. There's also fewer pendings and not as many places are getting accepted offers. Solds are up. That would be fairly normal, again, because those contracts are written in a little bit of December and January for the most part. And we think we'll see those solds maybe dip a little bit in March when we look at the March numbers, because those contracts will be written in February. And then the showings actually up. That's a little bit of a surprise, again, because of the weather. But again, if you think about where the weather has been, it's been a little bit more snow up north and a little bit less down south. So that could be part of the reason there as well. So those are the Johnson County numbers. Let's look at next the Linn County numbers. So that should be up on the screen now. So in in Linn County, we saw new listings at 219 new listings. That was down just over 29% from January, up just over 5% from the previous February. Pendings, 203. That is down 21% from January, down almost 29% from the previous January. Sold, 191. That's up just over 19.4%. And then for the previous month, from previous January, and then down 4.5% from the previous February. Showings, 2,379 showings. That's down 23.3% from January, down 16.7% from the previous February. Days on the market, 57. That is up 5.6%, more time on the market from January, but it's down just under 21% from the previous February. And then the average sales price of $175,017. That is down 7.5% from January, but up 3.4% from the previous February. And again, these numbers are fairly indicative of what we would tend to see with this cold weather, is that there's less properties coming on the market, there's less showings, there's less pendings. Solds tick up because of the contracts written in December and January. But the weather really kind of impacted the market here locally, particularly in February. And so going forward, we'll probably see those listings, pendings, and showings tick back up in March. The first half of the month or so, it's been a little cold, the first couple weeks, I should say. But we think those numbers are going to tick back up and going to be positive month over month. And we'll see where they land year over year. And then the solds we think will tick up next month. It'll be a positive number when they look. Solds will be a negative number. Sorry, it'll go down a little bit because the pendings were down. So that will be the trend probably going into the next month. But that's been kind of penting up some demand, I guess, so to speak, for the buyers as they're looking for listings to go take a look at. And there's just not a ton of inventory out there for them, depending on where they're looking. And so one of the things that we talk a lot about is we talk about these micro markets. And so, one of the things that I wanted to get rid of that there. Let me just get this switched. So one of the things that we wanted to talk about was this micro market and kind of try to dive in this a little bit more, talk about this in a little more detail. So when we talk about a buyer's market versus seller's market, One of the things that we're looking at in a key number that we look at is something, it's called different things by different people, the amount of inventory on the market. I use a term called shadow inventory. And what it means is if nobody else came on the market to buy and no new houses came on the market to sell, based on the current demand of how many houses are selling per month, how long would it take for all the houses that are currently out there to sell? So as example, if 4 houses per month are selling and there's 12 houses for sale, that would mean that there's 3 months of inventory or 3 months of shadow inventory, depending on how you look at it. And so that number, when it's around that 3, 4, 5 gets a little high, but when you're on that 3 to 4, it's fairly a neutral market. When it's less than 3, when it's 2 or 1 or 0 sometimes, that's a seller's market. Things are selling quickly. If you get 5, particularly 6, 7 and more, you're more in a buyer's market where there's more inventory available than there is demand from the buyers looking. So, just getting into a micro market, an example. And so both of my examples go center around Hiawatha. So it's, a town just part of the Cedar Rapids metro area. And a lot of people think of Hiawatha, they're going to think of it's more of a seller's market. But there is an example where there's a seller's market and a buyer's market when you drill into the micro market and the micro details of it. So the example that I did some research on was the seller's market of Hiawatha. So when you look at first-time home buyers, so I was looking at homes under 200,000. There's currently 2 per month have been selling is the average currently. So 2 homes per month are getting an accepted offer and closing. There's only 2 available. So again, using that math, if you take the 2 divided by 2, you have 1 month. So there's 1 month of inventory, 1 month of shadow inventory. So that's showing that there's more demand than there is supply. So if you're a seller out there, or if you're thinking about selling and you have a home in Hiawatha and it's in that first-time home buyer's price market or price range, that would be something that you would want to take a look at and think about, is now a good time for me to sell? Should I be waiting because there might be other inventory coming on, or maybe the demand slows? But right now, if you have a home in that price point, I think it's a good time to get your home out there because of the demand that we're seeing in the low inventory currently. And then another stat that we kind of drill down even further, just to kind of even showcase that or highlight that even more, is in the month of February for houses in that price, in that first-time home buyer Hiawatha under 200, there were 43 showings on properties, which averaged out to, because some houses went pending and stuff, but it averaged out to about 11 showings per listing. So if your house was listed in Hiawatha under 200, on average, you were going to see 11 showings. So over the course of 4 weeks, you're getting about 3 showings per week. So 11 showings in a 30-day period. So that would be the seller's market information. And then, to look at the buyer's market example of that, now we switch, and now we're going to look at kind of second-time home buyers. Now, again, in Hiawatha, a lot of people would say it's always going to be a seller's market, or it's usually a strong market. But when we look at Hiawatha and we look at that second-time home buyers market, in particular, 250 to 350,000 single-family homes in Hiawatha, we're seeing that 1 sold every 2 months. And there's currently 6 properties available. So, 0.5 per month divided by the 6, we get 12 months of inventory. So there's 1 year of inventory, 12 months of inventory, which highlights or is a good indicator that there's more supply than there is demand. So if you're a seller in that market, for example, you're going to have to try to really be thinking about, how do I want to market my home? Do I want to be more aggressive on price? Do I have more square footage? What is going to help me sell my home to stand out versus these other 6? Because based on the current trend and the demand, only 1 home is going to get an accepted offer probably in the next 2 months. So knowing that information. So again, 6 available, that's 12 months of shadow inventory, 12 months, 1 year of homes out there. And so then we look down at the showings. And so in the month of February, we saw there were 19 showings for those 6 properties, compared to when we looked at the other ones, there's 43 showings. And so that averaged out to, it was just over 3. So basically 3 showings per property in that price point. So there's a huge difference from under 250 or under 200. We had 11 showings per property. Above 250 and above, we dropped down to 3 showings per listing. And so that's more of a buyer's market. That's where a buyer can potentially go in and look and see that there's multiple options out there, and maybe they can be a little bit more aggressive on price on those 6 properties. Some of them have already dropped price, have been on the market for a while. So again, if it depends on what you're looking for, and it depends on that micro market, and that's why we talk a lot about that, is that to us, looking at the market, and people always ask it, realtors get this question all the time, how's the market? I'm sure lenders get that question all the time as well, is how is the market? And to me, it can be a tough question to answer, or not a tough question to answer. It's a question that requires a lot of context and information about what are you looking to do? Are you looking to buy or sell? Because if you're looking to sell under 200, it's a great market for you in Hiawatha. If you're looking to sell 250 to 350, it's a tougher market to sell. If you're looking to buy and you're looking to buy under 200 in Hiawatha, it's going to be competitive. You may run into multiple offers. You're really going to have to watch as the homes come on the market. If you're looking to buy between 250 and 350 in Hiawatha, it is more of a buyer's market. And so you may be able to be a little more aggressive in price and take a look at all of them and not feel rushed to make a decision, real quickly. So it looks like Tim's been in that meeting the whole time, so he won't be joining us for the market update. I know he looked at some information for Marion Homes, a similar situation where single family homes under 200, the amount of inventory, the shadow inventory or the inventory of homes on the market was 1 or less than 1. And then he looked at that same price range, 250 to 350, was seeing that there's a lot of inventory on the market and the showings dropped off. And there was several months, over 6 months of inventory. And so again, knowing what you're doing in the market is going to be a key piece to help you be successful. So as always, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. You can leave a comment below. You can direct message us. You can call us in the office, 319-551-0749. And if you have any questions, again, feel free to reach out to us. Hope everyone has a great day and enjoys this warmer weather, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Take care. Bye.